right? In the beginning, we have started with resolution of force, right? We have understood what is resolution of force. Resolution of force is nothing but it is a method or technique of resolving the force into its x component and y component. So that force, one force which is acting at some angle theta, right, with some inclination theta at this point. So if I push this body or if I push this particle, it will travel to a distance, right? It will undergo some displacement and it will travel some displacement, right? To cause this displacement, we have to apply some force in the x direction and we have to apply some force in y direction, right? What is the amount of force which is responsible for x displacement and what is the amount of force which is responsible for y displacement? So identifying these components is nothing but resolution of force, right? uh, that force, that component of force we have calculated here, right? So Fy is given as f multiplied by sin theta and Fx is given as f cos theta when you take the angle of inclination with respect to x axis. Similarly, if I take the angle of inclination with respect to y axis, the formula will get interchanged as Fx is equal to f sin theta and Fy is equal to f cos theta, right? This is the resolution we have seen. Resolution of force is nothing but it is the method or technique of finding the x component of force as well as y component of force, right? So if the force, resolved force is acting rightwards, it is taken as positive. If the resolved force is acting leftwards, it will be taken as negative. If the resolved force is acting upwards, it will be taken as positive. If the resolved force is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative, right? So with these sign conventions, we have considered some problems and we have identified their x component and y component using this formula, right? So this is where you identified if the force is acting leftwards, it will be taken as negative. If the force is acting upwards, it will be taken as positive. Similarly, if the force is acting leftwards, it will be taken as negative. If the force is acting downwards, it will be taken as negative using these formulas. So we have identified their x component and y component, right? Similarly, so by taking another problem, we have solved its x component and y component. If the force is acting towards the point, right? So project this force to x axis, identify its x component, right? Project this force to y component, y axis, and identify its y component, right? So x component is acting leftwards, y component is acting downwards, so that is why both are negative. Like this we have considered number of other problems. So then we have identified, uh, then we have moved on to definition of composition of force, right? So composition of force is nothing but it is the method or technique of identifying the resultant force, right? So we can replace all the number of force and we can identify one single force which will represent the all other force, right? We can replace all other force, right? So we can see that there are number of force f1, f2, f3 and f4 are acting. So all these force can be replaced and represented as a single force which can replace the effect of all these force, right? So these force can be replaced and represented as a single force. That single force is called as resultant force, right? So the method of finding this single force is nothing but composition of force, right? There are three methods to identify this resultant force. So one is triangular law of forces, other one is polygon law of forces, and other one is parallelogram law of forces, right? We have defined what is triangular law of forces and we have defined what is polygon law of forces, right? These are the two methods which are graphical methods, right? Which will not be useful for us, right? This is the one which is important for us, right? Triangular law of forces says that, right, if two forces are acting at a point and if those two forces are able to arrange as a two sides of triangle, right, taken in order, the remaining closing side will represent the resultant force, right? So that is the definition which we have seen here, right? Similarly, if more than two forces are acting or if number of forces are acting at a single point, if those number of forces can be represented as a sides of polygon, right, taken in order, then the remaining closing side represents a resultant force. So that is what we have defined in the polygon law of forces. Similarly, so if two forces are acting at a single point, so if the angle between those two forces is theta, so this can be represented as two sides of a parallelogram. Then the diagonal side represents resultant force, right? So this is the parallelogram law of forces which you have discussed, right? So this is the definition of parallelogram law of forces, or it is a statement, right? If two forces are acting at a single point simultaneously if those two forces are able to represent as two sides of a parallelogram, then the diagonal side represents resultant force, right? So using this parallelogram, I have extended line A to D, and I have drawn a perpendicular line from C to D, right? Considering triangle CAD, right? We have written what is AD and we have written what is CD, right? Now considering triangle OCD, considering triangle OCD, right? Considering this triangle OCD, using Pythagoras theorem, I have written what is OC square, right? Where OC represent the resultant force, right? Where OC represent the resultant force. OC square is equal to OD square plus CD square, where OC square is equal to OD square plus CD square, where OD is equal to summation of OA plus AD, right? Using that, we have derived the formula for resultant of force, magnitude for calculation of resultant force, right? So this is the formula to calculate the magnitude of the resultant force, where resultant force is nothing but one single force which can replace the all other force acting in a system of force, right? So similarly we can determine the direction of this resultant force, right? Direction of resultant force, direction is nothing but the angle of inclination of a resultant force with respect to x-axis. This is the alpha which we are trying to calculate here, right? This is the alpha, that is equal to tan inverse f2 sin theta divided by f1 plus f2 cos theta, right? So this is formula when we can use if the angle of inclination between two forces theta, right? If that angle becomes 180 degree, the formula will become r is equal to f1 minus f2. If that angle becomes 0, theta is equal to 0 between two force, then r is equal to f1 plus f2. Similarly, if that angle becomes 90 degree, that is angle between two forces is 90 degree, then our formula becomes f1 square plus f2 square under the square root. So this is what we have discussed in the previous class, right? Similarly, so using that, right? So we have written r is equal to f1 square plus f2 square plus 2f1 f2 cos theta when the angle between two forces is theta, right? So when the angle between two forces is 90 degree, this formula will become r is equal to f1 square plus f2 square under the square root, right? Similarly, the direction of inclination of resultant force, right? Angle of inclination force theta will become tan inverse f2 divided by f1, right? So using that, so we can determine the composition of force, that is nothing but identifying the magnitude of resultant when number of force are acting, right? So when number of force are acting like f1 f2 f3 f4, right, the angle of inclination between those two forces, those number of forces theta 1 theta 2 theta 3 and theta 4 with respect to x-axis, right? So now what is the first step to determine the resultant force, right? First we have to resolve all the force into its x and y component, right? Similarly, we have to determine all the summation of all x components, right? So we have to add all the x components and get the value. Similarly, add the all y components and get the sigma fi value, right? Put it in this formula, you can able to calculate the magnitude of resultant, right? Put it in this formula, you will be able to calculate the direction of resultant force, right? So by using this formula, we have solved some problems, right? So those are like this, right? So first two problems, this is the problem number one, this is the problem number one, and this is the problem number two, right here. So we have to identify the direction of resultant and magnitude of resultant, right? So what is the r value and what is the theta value for this complete system of force, right? To do that, we have identified x component of all the force, y component of all the force taken separate, right? Consider all the force separately, right? Consider the angle of inclination with respect to x axis, right? Consider all force, identify their angle of inclination with respect to x-axis, right? Consider all force, identify their angle of inclination with respect to x-axis, find out their x component and y component, find out their x component and y component, add it, right? Determine the sigma fx and sigma fy, right? Similarly, for all problems, determine their sigma fx and sigma fy, right? Later, you add it, right? Later find out the sigma fx, sigma fi, so put it in this formula, right? There you'll get the direction of, sorry, magnitude of resultant force. Similarly, to get the direction of resultant force, use this formula, put the sigma fx and sigma fi, right? Sigma fi divided by sigma fx, identify the theta value. This is the process we have to follow for identifying the magnitude and direction of force. Right? Analysis of concurrent force may include, so determination of resultant value r, or it may include determination of theta value, resultant force inclination theta, right? For the two problems which you have solved in the last class, right? For those two problems, sigma fx we have obtained as minus 40.48 and sigma f5 we have obtained as 27.8, right? Which is calculated here, right? So these are the minus 40.48 and this is the minus 27.28. This is minus 40.48. So for those sigma fx and sigma fi, we have calculated r value. We have solved the r value, that is 49.106. Similarly, so we have calculated theta value, direction of resultant minus 34.47. Similarly, for the second problem, right? For the second problem, we have got sigma fx as minus 97.55 and sigma fi as 270.4. Right? For that, we have got magnitude of resultant value as 287.4, right? Using those sigma fx and sigma fi. So, right, similarly, we have got direction of resultant as 70.17 degree, right? Similarly, I have given you one homework problem, that is to calculate the magnitude of resultant and direction of resultant value for this given problem, right? So we can resolve this forces into its fx and fi without using the tabular column, right? From now onwards you have to practice with the without the tabular column, right? So you have to get this value without the tabular column. Still, for the practice purpose, I have shown how to calculate x component and y component for your help, right? So consider each force 100 kilonewton force, right? Check how the force is acting. It is acting along y direction. The angle of inclination is 90 degree. Find out fx. Fx is equal to f cos theta. Theta is 90 degree. Cos 90 is 0. Its x component is 0. It is acting upwards. Similarly, f5, right? How the force is acting? It is acting upwards, positive 100 sin 90. Theta inclination with respect to x-axis is 90 degree. Sin 90 is 1. 1 multiplied by 100 is 100. Similarly, consider 200 kilonewton force, right? 200 kilonewton force is making some slope here, right? The slope is given. Instead of giving the angle, they have given the slope here, right? Using this slope, we can calculate the angle of inclination, right? So that angle of inclination, theta, is given by tan inverse of 2 by 3. It is 33.69, right? So we can calculate this angle, right? So this angle is calculated as opposite by hypotenuse. Tan is equal to opposite by hypotenuse. Tan theta is equal to 2 by 3. Theta is equal to tan inverse of 2 by 3, right? Tan inverse of 2 by 3 will give 33.69 for 200 kilonewton force, right? So resolution of that force along its x direction and along its y direction, right? The x component is acting positive rightwards, y component is acting upwards, positive, right? Fx is given by 200 cos 33.69, fy is given by 200 sin 33.69, right? So fx is 166.41, fy is 110, 110.93. Similarly, consider 250 kilonewton force which is acting along the x-axis, right? The theta inclination with respect to x-axis is 0 degree. Fx is equal to 250 cos 0. Theta is 0. Similarly, 250 cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. 250 multiplied by 1 is 250 only. Similarly, 250 sin 0. Fi is equal to f sin theta, right? F is 250. Theta is 0. 250 sin 0 is 0, right? Similarly, consider 300 kilonewton force, right? resolve into its x component and resolve into its y component. X component will be acting rightwards, y component will be acting downwards, right? Rightwards positive, downwards negative, right? Theta is with respect to x-axis is 30 degree, right? Fx is equal to 300 cos 30, 259.80. Similarly, Fy is equal to minus 300 sin 30. It is minus 150. Right now we have got Fx and Fy. Right. So even without using tabular column, you should be able to write this equation, right, directly. Right. Similarly, find out sigma Fy. So both answers are same. Right. Even you can calculate without the tabular column. Right. From now onwards, so all the problems will be solved without tabular column. Right. So using this sigma fx and sigma fy value, we can calculate r value. Similarly, we can calculate theta value, where r represents magnitude of resultant force, where theta represents direction of resultant force. Right. So magnitude of resultant force is obtained as 678.93 kilonewton. Similarly, direction of force, it is equal to 5.14 degree with respect to x-axis. Right. Similarly, I have solved some more problems. Go through these problems in the next class.